County Line is a peaceful, very, very faithful church. It has a congregation that strives to discern God's will and to love God. Discernment is every day remembering that we go to church not just to sit through the sermon, but to think about what is God's will for this community? What is God's will for this little church here on the mountain that makes a difference in people's lives? And to discern that requires prayer, and it really requires trying to understand where each person in the congregation is coming from, because we all come from a different angle, a different family, a different aspect, but we have a common goal. Just 7 miles from here, lodged in a kind of dormitory situation, working in the apple and peach orchards. Actually, when we went and we met them, I was totally impressed by the fact that, hey, they're just like us. Yeah, they want to read the Bible. They want to sing a hymn. They want to have Holy Communion. They are just like our neighbors, only they're temporary. They come, they go. They had stories, every one of them, about their family. They had stories about why they're here. And it was just a very enlightening thing for those of us who had the opportunity to go and visit with them, and we want to do it again.
I think discernment is a intentional reflection and intentionally asking for God's will. And there's a couple of ways that I've tried to steer us in that way to do that. One is looking at God's larger story, mostly through the scriptures, asking about how does the story of County Line play into our missional discernment. And it's really interesting because County Line Church, our story that I've heard around so much is that we were a migrant farm community, mostly from German descent. When their ancestors from Germany first landed here is in Pennsylvania, and they came down here to find more farmland, and they set up community here. So hearing that story, and then not to discount either each of our own personal stories. Where have I felt God's calling or seen God at work in my own personal life here?
It was definitely time that we started coming to church. My son wanted to start coming to church. Seth, who's a fireman, so I think a lot of the things that he's seen on calls has bothered him, and he wanted answers to things. And Sarah wanted to start coming to church. Probably when we had to walk up to the cross with Sarah. Because Sarah was afraid to go. Because she thought that was the actual cross that Christ was crucified on. So me and Jeff and Sarah had to go together. She was actually shaking and petrified. And she kept asking me, Mommy, I can't go up there because that's the cross. And I said, it is the cross, but it's okay. And she said, no, that's the cross. And I said, that's not the one, honey. It's a representation. So we had to go up together to touch it, and we all prayed together. And then she was a little shaken after that, but she felt better that me and Dad went with her.
The last time I experienced God's presence at County Line wasn't actually at the church, but it was at the baptism of Seth and Shauna at Mill Creek. That day they were baptized. I really, really felt God's presence that day. I felt it in the sense that as they were baptized, I could sense them being changed. I could sense them being overpowered and taken over by God. I could really, really feel that. And it was an awesome experience. And I have seen them change and grow as they've come to the church.
County Line is a small church, but I feel like we have true Christians here that are hungry for the word of the Lord. if they are truly seeking the Lord, I feel like they would find it here.
Anybody can come in this church, and if they want to speak with you, you're more than happy to speak with them. And here you've got the congregation and the pastor that is more than willing to talk and help anybody.
One of the strengths that the small community has is when you come in here, you can know who these people are by name, and they can know you by name. This is a place where you can live out your faith and doubts and fears in the closeness of a family. We do church here family style, I would say.
They kind of make you feel like a family here.
This is family.
So it's more like a family.
And we're all one big family.
We love it here.
This is a great church home. We hope you'll come.